Cooper started the origination of a combat pistol and how we would fight. And if you go all the way today, which we'll do another video on, I think it'll be a cool video as where the draw stroke came from and how we've perfected it today, and maybe what it's going to look like in the future. 1911s were virtually the only pistol that we had that was a semi-automatic pistol. I think they say Jeff Cooper is kind of the father of keeping it alive in America, because everybody was shooting revolvers and he was saying, hey, you're better with a semi-auto pistol. And so his gunsmith was Ted Yost. And so Ted Yost would take a Colt 1911, and Colt 1911s, not today, but in the past, were known not to run. They were very sharp, had sharp edges. They're very cumbersome, and they're just not a very finely polished, finished gun. And so what they would do is he would always say you need sights you could see, trigger you could pull, and recoil that you can manage. So what he was basically saying is a gun that works. 1911s didn't notoriously work. They always had to change the sights, because if you look at a regular Colt 1911s, the sight's like a little bitty bump and like almost nothing on the back. They're kind of hard to see. They started adding sights to them, doing trigger jobs, doing reliability jobs, and that's where Ted Yost started at Gunsite. Just to see how they used to do it. Like, picture this. I'm a cop in the late 70s. I mean, I could hit them versus, kind of where we came to today, right? Let's see. So even going slow is a lot faster. And, as you start getting these guns more tricked up, smaller calibers, you can shoot them quite a bit faster. Special thanks to Milt Sparks, guys. So I know it's fudlore to have a leather holster, but you can choose the hand engraved. This is where we came from. And what's crazy is when I first graduated high school in '99 and I became a sheriff's deputy, we only carried Milt Sparks or Galco, but mostly Milt Sparks. We had an outside the waistband, an inside the waistband holster, and that's what we carried our Glocks in, our HKs in. Contrary to what you guys know, like, we were in a fight of whether HK USP or Glock. I remember deputies coming up to me, old head cops, saying, hey, what do you think about that Glock? Are we sure that we can trust it? That was just like, 25 years ago that we didn't trust a Glock like we trust it today. But we all had leather holsters. Leather holsters are still more comfortable, in my opinion, than Kydex holsters, but I think you got to have a lot of holsters. And what did Clint Smith say just the other day? I'm too old to have a shitty gun. I think we're too old to have a shitty holster too. Transcend has been a life change for me. I've had, at this point now, after my nose surgery a couple months ago, legitimately 19 surgeries. It has absolutely changed everything about my life. I'm 45 pounds down. It's not a weight loss thing. It is getting your body back healthy, putting the correct peptides into your body that repair tissue. So look, go to Transcend, go to the link below, call them, it's free. They will get a doctor to help you, consult you, walk you through everything you need in your goals. They'll customize a program just for you. Tell them American Outlaw sent you. Continuing on a little bit about Ted Yost. Ted started Yoast Custom, and he was a part of Yoast. I think Bonnets is how you pronounce it. I tried to call Ted, and so Ted, if you watch this, I'm trying to give you the best justice I can versus what I've been able to find out about you on the internet, the one conversation you and I ever had, and then, visiting with some other guys. And so he had Yoast Custom, Yoast Bonnets, and you can notice by when they carve their name into their gun. The serial number on this gun was provided to me by 9 Tony Bolt. Go check him out on Instagram. And it was a Packers 45. This was the guy's last name was Packer, and so they're just saying this was his 45. But so this is an earlier Yoast, and this one would have been Yoast working on it himself. Yoast Bonnets would have been multiple people working on it, and then he went to Heirloom Precision and partnered with Jason Burton, and then later he went to Estate Limited Sporting. Ted Yost is also known to be a master rifle maker, but the question you want to know is how much is a Yoast custom pistol? Well, what he would do, he's retired now, but what he would do is you would send him a pistol, and you had anywhere from a 2 to 5 year wait. So Heirloom Precision, which is Jason Burton now, at one time they were partners, Ted's since retired, is a 3 or 4 year wait if you can get on his list. These guys are going to do less than 500 pistols custom in their lifetime. And so it's pretty awesome to be able to have one. But what you would do is you would send your pistol in, and it would just sit there and wait with them 3, 4, 5 years. They would get the pistol, and they charge, I think it's like $150 an hour. So it ends up being somewhere near $15,000 to $18,000 to have them do this pistol after you have bought the pistol and sent it to them. So a lot of guys do an old Colt, a lot of guys do a birth year. My birth year was 1980. They'd find a 1980 Colt, buy the Colt, send it in, wait 3 or 4 or 5 years, and then they would get it back, and then however long it took them. So everybody knows, they're well known for not being perfect. And so they would have to take the Colt apart, and what they do is like, you can see right now how tight fitting this is, and I wish I could get you to feel it. It's like buttery smooth. And the reason why is the first thing they do is the slide to frame fit. A regular Colt, when you grab it, it's just like wiggles and you hear everything. This isn't like that. And the reason it isn't is because they weld the slides back oversized, and then they hand fit them to fit literally perfect. And then after they hand fit the slide, so they go inside, do TIG welds all the way down, and then hand fit it to where everything is fitting perfect on it, and it is just literally butterly smooth. Then they go in and they do like what's called a D-horn on the pistol. They flatten the slides, because remember, they weren't made on CNC machines. They were made by hand, the older ones. So they go in and they flatten the slides out on both sides. Same thing with the frame. And then they take all of these sharp edges off. So this is like the smoothest pistol you've ever touched. If you go grab an old 1970s, 80s Colt, they're rough, they're not smooth, they're you know, some of them can cut you and make you bleed. It's called slide bite or hammer bite. That's like a real thing. And so these guys that were shooting all of the time, they thought about that, and they were like, hey, okay, how do we make this to where it is a smooth gun to shoot? And then one of them is, you know, sights you can see, so they add custom sights. Ted, this one has a tritium sight, but Ted was pretty famous for this. I actually got this pistol from Ted a while ago, and he's famous for this gold line. And they did that because of African game. And so remember, in the 60s, 70s, 80s, especially the 70s and 80s, when they were really doing custom pistols, night sights weren't a thing. Now, remember, it's really important. You cannot shoot what you can't see. But gold has a tendency, and we learned this from African hunters, that gold has a tendency to pick up the most light. So that was what the idea was for a night sight back in the day. Instead of all black, we had gold, and it would pick up all the light that it could. I actually love that. It's pretty awesome. You can do a gold bead or the gold front post. I really love the front post. So we knew that sights were a problem. They started adding the sights. They tightened up the slide to frame fit, and then Colts don't come with the checkering. And remember, guys, you don't need, I think it's been talked to death. We don't need any kind of grip on the sides of the pistol, because the way you properly grip a pistol is here and here, right? You can literally hold a pistol like this with just these fingers, and this is how you grip a pistol. So shooters, people who shoot a lot understand that. And so they hand checker this. This isn't done on a machine. This is done with a file, one set of lines. I think it does 5 at a time. So you put a jig on and you do 5 at a time. Then you turn it up sideways this way, and you go against the grain 5 at a time until you get this very, very smooth checkering. Now there's multiple checkering, 20 lines per inch, 25, 30, and then there's 50. I have a Yoast gun that's 50. This one is 30. 20 is what was standard. If you don't have what I would consider man hands or working man hands, you don't handle a gun a lot, 20 you're gonna say is a little pokey. I probably like 20 the best. This is 30 and it's fine. Then they go in and they replace the beaver tail safety, and they make this top portion right here, this swoop, so you can see that it won't give you the hammer bite. It fits your hand perfect depending on how you hold the gun. I hold my gun up high and tight. I don't hold into my gun. I hold like at a 45-degree angle up on my gun. You can see where if I didn't have this beaver tail, the hammer would get me. And so it works really well with the way that I shoot. I put my thumb on top of the safety when I'm shooting in 1911. Some guys put their thumb and tuck it down like this. If you're shooting one-handed, it's better like this. You control the gun better. I hold it like this, and I keep my thumb on top. And so The beaver tail side of that, which you think it's like a simple thing, but it's not. It took a lot of time, and I think Ed Brown was the first one that came in and said, hey, this isn't gonna work. I need to make it towards not cutting everybody's hands. This one doesn't have an ambidextrous safety. I don't like ambidextrous safeties, and the reason why is because Series 70 1911s, they have two safeties on them, right? Safety number one is just the regular thumb safety, and if you pull the trigger, it doesn't work, but then there's the beaver tail, and if you pull the trigger, it will fire. If you take the ambi safety off and pull the trigger, it won't fire, but when you push the beaver tail down, it will fire. Some people pin this. It's completely up to you. A lot of guys pin it, a lot of guys don't. The reason why it's, probably not recommended to pin it is because if you drop this, it not every time, but it could likely fire. That's what a Series 70 Colt did. A lot of people miss it, and which is why Ed Brown had to put this hump on there, because a lot of people miss that with the way you hold the pistol. And so, again, these are things that, John Browning, he came up with this, but of course he was a genius and he made an awesome platform, but he just didn't understand, as we evolve, the things that were like, hey, this is a problem and we're going to fix it. We have, by 2025 now, we have fixed all of those problems and we've made them, a pretty awesome machine. If you think it takes about, I think Jason Burton, when I spoke to him, he said it takes about 200 to 250 hours of gunsmithing. So you take a bone stock Colt and everything that you have to do to it, every part is oversized. So your thumb safety is oversized. They have to take it and they have to literally hand file it till it fits perfectly. And then you get that perfect click, right? And then they have to work the trigger job and they have to hand file the trigger on the inside until the trigger literally breaks. I don't know what this one probably breaks at. 3.5 or 4 pounds. Yeah, probably so. Today, still, the 1911 is the most shootable pistol that there is. If you give somebody a 1911, especially in 9mm, because we're so used to shooting 9mm, everybody I've ever seen shoot a 1911 shoots it better. We don't carry them anymore. Why don't we carry them? We don't carry them for a lot of reasons. We don't carry them because they're heavy, and they are heavy. They are pretty easy to conceal because they're very slim, but they are heavy. They hold 7 rounds, or some of the new magazines 8. They hold 8 rounds, and it's an emotional argument that we feel like we need more rounds. And listen, nobody in a gunfight, I'm a full believer in this, nobody in a gunfight has ever said, I needed less bullets. But the gunfight that you will likely find yourself in is not overseas. It's not with SEAL Team 6 kicking indoors. The gunfight that you will likely see is at your local gas station. Somebody is trying to rob you, or somebody's trying to hurt you or take your life or somebody else's life. So do you need 15 rounds? Do you need 23 rounds in a 2011? If you can carry them, that's completely up to you. I don't have a problem carrying a 1911. I've been carrying one pretty much every day this year. Or I carry, for the last 5 years, I carry my Glock 48 with 10 rounds in it. And I've never felt undergunned, never felt like I had a problem. So if we look at gunfights in America, you're not shooting suppressive fire. They're not burning 20 rounds. It's just not how it happens. And I don't mean gunfights with cops. I mean concealed carry. I know it's not a full fact, but it's pretty close. The 3-3-3, 3 shots, 3 seconds, 3 yards, right? So they happen close. They happen with just a few shots. So I don't think you're outgunned with a 1911, especially if you carry extra magazines. In the world we live in today, we're going back to older guns. We saw a lot of retro guns. We see a lot of people going back to 1911. Like Nighthawk right now, I think, is the premier 1911, and they're 3-year wait to get one. That's what it costs to get one from Jason Burton. 1911s are still alive and well, and they're selling better than they ever have. You're not outgunned with a 1911, I don't think. Justifying the price. Why would you want to pay $15,000, $17,000, $20,000 for a Ted Yost? Standard, it depends on where he was in his career. You could pay anywhere from $7,500 all the way up to $15,000, $18,000 for his pinnacle grade, I think that's what it's called. Why would you justify the price of this? You're justifying the price because you're getting a craftsman. And so I think in America right now, one of the things that we are doing is starting to say, hey, we've had so much plastic, and we've had so much technology that doesn't kind of work anymore, that going back to hand crafting is actually pretty cool. It's actually now, I think, just called art, right? You can go to Frank House, who built the flintlock for the movie The Patriot. He's like a 8-year wait and like $30,000 for that flintlock. Well, what are you paying for? You're paying for his custom engraving. You're paying for his custom time building these at $150 an hour. So I think what you're doing when you look at this is you're saying, I'm paying for a craftsman. I'm paying for somebody who is meticulous in their work and takes a lot of pride. Is it a necessity? Absolutely not. Am I saying to you that you need a $15,000 1911? No. Do you need a gun? You do. Yeah. And especially in today's political climate, you absolutely need a gun. You need to be proficient on the gun. You cannot just watch YouTube and think you can shoot a gun. You have to go out and shoot a gun. You have to go to training. But you don't have to have one of these. You can just get man, I'm gonna just be honest, I don't even own one, but you can buy a $300 Taurus, or you can buy a Glock 48. It's what I carry every day. I think they're $500-600. So that's where you start, but this is where you go when you say, hey, I'm a gun guy. I appreciate craftsmanship. I appreciate that a man spent 2 weeks to cut all of these in by hand with a file. Like that's incredible. I appreciate that a man just worked the safety until it felt absolutely perfect. I appreciate that. So I'm buying custom, I'm buying art, and I'm going to call it perfection, autistic perfection. Getting one from a custom guy like Ted Yost, you can go to, there's several forums out there. I'm not sure I can mention them on YouTube. Go check them out. They're really active forums. I'd say the most active forums are 1911 guys, and they're the guys that are spending the most money, where the rest of the gun market is kind of dead. They're doing pretty good with it. But anyway, if you want to get a Ted Yost pistol like this, you can find them every once in a while, come up so that a collector gets rid of them. I first found out about Ted maybe in the early 2000s, and they were $7,500 then, and I was like, why would anybody pay that much money for a gun? Now at 45, I'm like, this is actually pretty cool. I really like this, and you know, I'm too old to have a shitty gun.